This is coming from Los Angeles Times. When your friends turn against you. So, California Congressman Adam Schiff has now asked Biden to leave. He's going to kiss up to him, though. Here's the quote: has been one of the most consequential presidents in our nation's history. His lifetime of service as senator, vice president, and now as president has made our country better. And here's the quote, but, and you know if it came before the word but, he probably didn't mean it. That's how our language works. But our nation is at a crossroads. A second Trump presidency will undermine, blah, 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 blah. The choice to withdraw from the campaign is President Biden's alone, but Schiff believes it's time for Biden to pass the torch. Breaking.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're back to talking about the Democrat Party civil war, guys. It is on and popping, okay? Because Adam Schiff, the pencil neck Democrat from California, who is extremely Trump deranged, has now called for Joe Biden to drop out of the race. Now, this is a big deal because Adam Schiff is one of the more powerful Democrats. I think that he's actually the top-ranking Democrat thus far to call for Joe Biden to step down. Now, why is Adam Schiff doing this? Well, he's probably doing it because he's in a Senate race out in California against a Republican whose name is Steve Garvey. Now, I personally think that Adam Schiff here is seeing the writing on the wall in the sense that he knows that although it is likely that he's going to win the Senate race because, again, California is extremely blue, there is a chance that with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, that could be a detriment to having people motivated to show up and to vote on election day, which would hurt Democrats like him down ballot. Okay, so if a lot of people say, I'm going to sit out because I don't want to vote for Joe Biden, what happens is that's less votes for Adam Schiff. And with what's happening to Trump right now, you have a motivated and energized America First base, Republican base, that most certainly is going to get out and vote for Trump in droves. So even in a state like California, you could see a shocking result in which you have a Republican be a lot more competitive than he should be because Joe Biden is going to be dragging down the ticket. Okay, so I think this is why Adam Schiff is calling for Joe Biden to drop out. And there are also moderate Democrats as well, too, who are in swing districts that also are calling for Joe Biden to drop out. In fact, they are the ones that are leading the coalition of Democrats that want Joe Biden to drop out. And apparently there was a very contentious conference call that happened between some of these Democrats and Joe Biden over the weekend, in which Joe Biden lashed out at the Democrats who were basically being upfront with him about how they believe that he's not the right guy to continue to lead this country. And I want to talk about it, but before I get into it, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can check out my merch. Like, for example, my Make Biology Great Again shirt. It is one of my favorite shirts, especially the MAGA red shirt here that I'm wearing. And if you guys want to check it out, you can do so at my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code TEAMBCP.
Reporting into CNN this hour showing just how tense things have gotten between a defiant Joe Biden and key members of his party. Sources tell me that the president lashed out at Congressman Jason Crow in a Saturday call with House Democrats. That happened after the Colorado moderate relayed voters' concerns about the president's vigor and strength, especially when it comes to the world stage. Biden, I'm told, got so upset with Crow's blunt assessment that at one point he said, quote, cut that crap out, and told Crow he could walk away if he wants. My friends and colleagues are back here. Just going to give you a little bit more of information from this call. Some of it had been previously been reported, but I'm getting new details. Leanne, what Jason Crow said to the president in this call was Americans want a commander-in-chief who can project strength, vigor, and inspire confidence at home and abroad. They need to feel that you have the helm when they go to bed each night, despite your many successes and the dangers of Trump. We are seeing overwhelming evidence in our districts that many voters are losing confidence you can do this in a second term. It's not fair, but it's true. Very, very blunt and very direct. Yeah. And here is what I'm told happened after that. I'm told the president responded to Crow, an Army Ranger, we should note, who served 2 tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq, that he knows Crow is a Bronze Star recipient like Biden's son, Beau, but that he didn't rebuild NATO, meaning Crow. According to two sources familiar with the call, the exchange got even more contentious when Crow pushed back on the president, who also argued that NATO leaders are supportive of him. Now, Crow told the president that he needs to understand that voters aren't seeing him that way. At one point, Biden told Crow to cut that crap out, and that if Crow wants to walk away from him, then he can walk away.
Yeah. So that call happened Saturday, as you mentioned. It's with a new Democratic coalition where many of those members are frontline members. Those are the ones who represent swing states. They call themselves the majority makers of the Democratic Party. And the readout I got of that call is that it was intense, that Biden, quote, screamed at Crow, and that it was absolutely a disaster, that these members had been extremely concerned that President Biden is not hearing what he needs to hear, that his small circle of people are keeping him so separated from what the Democratic Party, elected officials, donors, and voters think, that this was their opportunity to tell the president that directly. And as you reported, Dana, it did not go over very well. And we see that the president is still entrenched and sticking in. And so is the campaign is behind him and his team. But there's still, this is not going away. A lot of the attention is on this Republican convention. And there is still so much frustration and nervousness among Democrats.
Yeah, so you're seeing that, you heard that, okay? So you have Democrats going off on Joe Biden and Joe Biden going off on Democrats behind closed doors. So the Democrat civil war is still ongoing, even though the liberal media is not talking about it like they were just a week ago, okay? It was nonstop. Biden should drop out, okay? And who knows, maybe they will start covering it again. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like there's some Democrats who are just not okay with letting the landslide victory that it seems like Trump is on a collision course for to happen, right? They just don't want to happen because that means that they're going to lose their jobs. At this point, Trump's wave is not only just going to carry him over the finish line, but also is going to carry the Republicans in the Senate and in the House, and they're going to have full control of the government if things continue to go in the direction that they're going. And this is what Democrats are panicking about behind closed doors. And they're saying, listen, Biden, you got to drop out because you're weighing us down. Okay. You're not a rising wave. Okay. You are a sinking ship and everybody else is sinking with you. Okay. I mean, you have these polls, like, for example, an AP survey found that 70% of Americans and even 65% of Democrats want Biden to drop out and allow someone else to face off against Trump. Just 29% of the electorate, meanwhile, feels either extremely or somewhat confident that Biden had the mental capacity needed to be an effective president. You have a Blue Labs analytics poll that claims that alternative Democrat candidates run ahead of President Biden by an average of 3 points across the battleground states of Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. So basically, they are trying to convince Joe Biden with data that you can't win, right? You can't win. However, again, you have some of these delusional individuals in Biden's camp that is telling him, no, Joe, you can win. In fact, you are the one to beat Trump and to save democracy. You're the only person that can do it. Like, for example, Joe Scarborough, who is so delusional that for whatever reason, he believes that the polls are tied between Trump and Biden right now.
People know Joe Biden. They factored this in. People know Donald Trump. They factored this in. Now, all this could change in a week. Who knows? But right now, as we said yesterday, we live in a 46-46 country, not a 50-50 country. We live in a 46-46 country. And the Democrats have got either fish or cut bait. Like, if they can't drive Joe Biden from the race, they need to line up behind Joe Biden because there's no middle ground here. You're either united, a house divided against itself can't stand. You're either united or your side loses. They've got to make decisions fast. And all these stories about Nancy furiously going around trying to undermine Joe Biden, it's not working. I mean, I don't even know if that's true. We keep hearing about Barack Obama and all of Barack Obama's people quietly working behind the scenes to undermine Joe Biden. If they are,
that's not helpful.
It's not helpful, first of all. And secondly, it's not working with the rank and file base. after all of these historic moments. And Republicans are in Milwaukee. They know they're going to win. Just like, Karl Rove said Joe Biden can't win. I understand. He's turned in a terrible debate performance. He has trouble in interviews. He always has. But again, I want to see the polling that says that. I want to see the numbers that say that, because all I hear is, there's a secret poll. I've looked at internals of candidates and he's down by 87. Every public poll that's come out has this race tied, Mike, even after two of the most historic events in recent American political history.
Every public poll has this race tied, according to Joe Scarborough. Again, I'm not entirely sure how MSNBC just continues to platform a guy who is just so wrong on a daily basis. Like, it's comical at this point, right? Like, quite literally, I think that Morning Joe is a comedy show. It's not even like political commentary. It's just straight comedy, okay? Because nothing on that show can be taken seriously. It has absolutely zero credibility. The opinions of the opinion host, not journalists, but the opinion host, are just constantly wrong, right? I'm not entirely sure why MSNBC continues to air this guy, but wants to maintain some credibility, right? Because there's no credibility what this man says at all. I mean, look at the RCP average, okay? And you talk about, and this doesn't even include polls that's probably going to show Trump getting a bump after the failed assassination attempt. But you just look up until now, Trump is up across all the polls, the most recent ones, 2.5 points, which is more than he's been up probably in a few months, actually. Overall, when it's just Trump versus Biden, and as you can see here, there are a slew of polls, most of them except one, showing Trump winning. That is not what Joe Scarborough just described, saying that, well, all the polls are showing that it's tied, right? It's a tied race. That's just simply not the case. And we also know, again, if anybody knows anything about politics, that Republicans, if they are winning the popular vote, which Trump is right now, then that means that most likely is a landslide in the Electoral College, which actually is what matters when it comes to selecting the president of the United States. But if you look at a more realistic scenario in which you have Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy versus West versus Stein, because these are all the people that are in the race, Trump is up by even more, 3.6 points, which again, most certainly is a landslide. Okay, that is not a tie, right? That is not a tie at all. So again, this guy, Joe Scarborough, is just delusional. But what I love about it is that these people, they are collapsing, right? The party is collapsing. At this point, Joe Biden, he's dug his heels in. He said, I'm not leaving, right? I am not dropping out. So if they want Biden to step down, then it's going to have to be a contested convention. A contested convention is the absolute worst thing that can happen to Democrats right now, because it's going to divide the party even further. The party's already divided amongst their base of young communists, okay, who support Palestine, versus the establishment Democrats, okay, who support Israel. That's already a deep divide. You already have people that are not going to show up because of that. Now you have this situation with Biden's mental health deteriorating. You have that, and Biden not willingly stepping down. If there's a real contest at the DNC for the nomination, that could be the nail in the Democrats' coffin, right, in regards to their chances of winning the election. Because, yeah, they definitely need to unite, okay? Now, whether it's behind Biden or somebody else, I don't know. But what's happening right now, I'm loving it, right? It's glorious. So I hope they don't, right? I hope that Democrats continue to argue with each other and to continue to fight and to continue to, bring each other down behind closed doors, because the more that they do that, the less united they are, which helps the Republicans. The Republicans are united right now. Even Nikki Haley came out and, threw her endorsement behind Trump, which pissed off the cackling hens.
But we agree more often than we disagree.
Pathetic. So disheartening.
She waged an effective campaign in the primaries, took a decent chunk of voters with her. So now, what are her people supposed to think about what's going on here?
She's a big disappointment. I mean, because now she's giving permission to her to her people to vote for him. And they might have stayed home and voted for Biden. Who knows what they would have done. But it was like the invasion of the body snatchers last night.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not. But I mean, everybody, she's not the only one. They're all up there kissing the ring of dear leader.
It's not the ring they're kissing.
They all, though, Joy said, most of them, except I think for Chris Christie, that they would get behind Donald Trump if he were the nominee. And they are sticking to their word. They're getting in line. They're circling their wagons. I
So
mean,
DeSantis doesn't care that he insinuated he was a pedophile.
Does not care.
Or Cruz doesn't care that he said his wife was ugly.
They only care about power. They care about their party and power before their country. And that is very, very clear.
You know what I think? I think they're addicted to their power. It's an addiction. Do you have an addiction? I have an addiction to Scrabble, okay?
She does.
And I really do. And I understand an addiction from that point of view. You don't want to give it up. And they're addicted. Yeah. They should have term limits. They should not be there forever and ever and ever. Yeah. These people, because they are addicted.
Yeah, so again, they're fuming because Republicans are supporting each other, okay? They're pretending like they've never seen a situation where a politician says something bad about another politician while competing in a primary for the nomination and then turning around and being friends, right? Or supporting each other after the competition is over. I mean, we saw Kamala Harris call Joe Biden a racist, a segregationist, and also a sexual abuser on stage at the Democrat primary debate, but yet he chose her as his vice president. Again, it's funny how these Democrats, these liberals never bring that up, okay, when they are always complaining about never-Trumpers or people who are anti-Trump or don't like Trump turning around and supporting Trump in the end, which always happens, right? It happens in every party, okay? But it just so happens this election season, going into the election, Democrats are more divided than ever and Republicans are more united than ever. And again, this is not good news for Democrats. And this is why they're panicking. This is why they're upset, because they know that time is running out, right? They got to get it together, or else Trump definitely is going to win in a landslide. And he's going to flip some states that we didn't even think were possible to flip as a Republican in this upcoming election. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.